This is a call center behind me. This is a dozen or more or many dozens of agents dialing 1,000 numbers a day or more apiece, reaching out to live body homeowners with deadly accurate precision, knowing exactly who's the most likely to answer, knowing exactly what time of day they're typically around their phones and answering, knowing exactly what demographics and what types of people are the most likely to sit down and have enough curiosity about the product to want to continue and learn more in a solar appointment. That's knocking doors. Welcome to Simplicity Power Podcast. My name is Alex Peters. I'm the CEO and founder of Simplicity Power. I'm sitting here today with Brendan Boyle, and we're talking today about the biggest hack in the new meta of selling solar in 2024. What's going on, Brendan? So Brendan is our inside sales director here at Simplicity Power. He's been with us for a very, very, very long time. He's been in sales and cold calling for over half a decade. Millions of cold calls that he's personally made and tens of millions that he's made with his teams, generated hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue across multiple industries with the teams that he's ran and built in sales, cold calling. And we want to talk today about the new meta selling in 2024. The door knocker is not dead, but he's asleep at the wheel. And this is kind of what we want to talk about. So obviously you and I, we started and built our call center going on almost 2 years now in solar sales. Back at the time, I remember the first thing that so many other of my friends, they owned EPCs, they owned dealers, they were big team leaders at big companies. They told us, literally, remember what they told us? They literally said, cold calling is for people who don't know how to knock doors.
Don't do it. It's not worth it.
Exactly. Granted, we were making six figures a month knocking doors before that, so I think we're okay at knocking doors. But cold calling is the efficient way, right? Like an average door knocker, when we sat down, we ran the numbers, right? You're a numbers guy. When we sat down and ran the numbers, what were our average door knockers as far as like real live humans, real live homeowners? How many were they talking to like an average daily basis?
You know, they're going out, they're knocking, 100, 150 doors. They're speaking to maybe 5, 10 people.
Right, 5, 10 homeowners. Like after you take out the renters, you take out the kids, you take out the, hey, my cousin owns a house, whatever. Like it's like 10, 15 people that they're talking to, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, how many real live qualified homeowners do your reps talk to per day?
Every single day, I would say each one of my guys talks to somewhere in the ballpark, depending on the day, obviously, of anywhere from 80 to 150 people.
Guys, think about that. 80 to 150 live humans, live qualified homeowners, not renters, not the gas station clerk while you're getting cigarettes, live homeowners, right? And then we have our guys, they're in an office at standing desks, making these dials all day, every day on a predictive dialer. So how much time do they have to like screw off and, get tired of this and go to the gas station, go to the restroom, like all that stuff. They're locked in, dialed in, standing next to each other. They have that constant motivation. And guys, that's the biggest thing. 2024 solar meta has shifted. We're talking about an extremely saturated market in most parts of the country, most major metros and cities. We're in Dallas, Texas. This is the hub for so much solar. And you want to break into that market, you can't just go around talking to the same 10 homeowners that have been hit up 15 times in the last 2 weeks. It's completely shifted. We're seeing so many closers that were killing it, absolutely slaughtering it. There were golden door winners in 2021, 2022, and then 2023, now especially 2024 rolls around, that shifted. That golden door stage is shredded, completely fallen from what it was several years ago. And the biggest reason is people are trying to use the same tactics that worked before and saying, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And they're not coming to the realization that you need volume, you need scale, you need something that's going to reach a greater number of people than what just knocking a door and sending a team out there is going to be. People getting 18-year-olds out of Chick-fil-A and selling them on this dream of making $500,000 a year. And it's just not reality the same way anymore for most people. They come in, that's why most companies, they have 90% churn rates on their new reps coming in because they sell them on this big dream. They send them out to knock doors. They hit the same doors that have been knocked 100 times over the last few years, and they're just not seeing success. And it's because I think they're not talking to enough people. There's not enough volume in that. And that's where cold calling comes in. Obviously, like this is simplicity solar, it's not complexity solar. So we want to come in and we want to shred down those non-income producing tasks. If you have to talk to twice as many homeowners in 2024 as you did in 2023 to get the same number of leads or to get a qualified homeowner, or if your commissions are just half of what they were before, think about it. You have to knock twice as much to make the same amount of income. So that's where the call center comes in. That's where, like, talk to me about that a little bit. What are some of the ways that we're putting our closers in more homes to let them focus on the highest income producing skill they have, which is sitting in a home signing docs? Like, what are we doing for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So just like you said a second ago, right? They have to spend twice the amount of time that they were already spending to get the same amount of appointments. And for a lot of these guys, they're going out, especially if they're in these markets like Dallas, like some of these other markets that we operate in as well, right? They're going out and they're spending their whole entire day knocking, right? Whatever time they're devoting to sales, they're spending that day knocking and getting in as many homes as they possibly can, or they have a team of guys that are knocking for them, right? Well, whichever one it is, like we said before, like you said, right? You're only able to get into so many homes, right? You're only able to set so many appointments. So really thinking about that, what I think you and I both realized together is that there has to be a better way, right? There has to be a way that we can get our reps into homes in front of more faces, right? And the way that we really ended up doing that is through these virtual appointments. One of the big pain points that a lot of our reps were actually finding with their setters and with appointments that they're setting themselves is these people weren't super qualified, right? They'd be the homeowner. They would maybe have decent credit. They would maybe have a bill that kind of fit the ballpark of what they were looking for. But it's really, really difficult to find people that pass and meet the exact criteria that you want as a closer to actually sell solar, right? So what we're able to do with that volume, it's not only optimize your time as a setter, what it also does for you is it gets you into more qualified homes, right? They meet all that criteria that you want.
All right, let's illustrate this real quick. This is a predictive dialer.
Oh, you got it.
Brendan's knocking doors. He can stab one of me at a time. But what am I going to do? This is a predictive dialer. This is a call center behind me. This is a dozen or more or many dozens of agents dialing 1,000 numbers a day or more apiece, reaching out to live body homeowners with deadly accurate precision, knowing exactly who's the most likely to answer, knowing exactly what time of day they're typically around their phones and answering, knowing exactly what demographics and what types of people are the most likely to sit down and have enough curiosity about the product to want to continue and learn more in a solar appointment. That's knocking doors. He can still kill me. Don't get me wrong. Knocking doors still has its efficiencies. It still has its place. But when I'm sitting here with a loaded AK-47, who's going to do more damage? That's the meta in 2024. So when we talk about this meta in 2024, we talk about the new way of selling solar. The finance products have changed. Dealer fees have doubled over the last couple of years. Interest rates have gone anywhere but down. Across the board, we've seen everything shift. We saw it go from loans to purchase power agreements and leases to now alternative finance products such as HDM, back to loans, all over the place, 6 ways to Sunday. And the biggest thing that I'm seeing is the volume has to shift. This is now a volume game. It's a units game. It's the difference between selling Ferraris and selling Toyotas. They always say, if you want to drive a Ferrari, sell Fords. If you want to sell Ferrari, you're going to drive a Ford. And that's the case now, right? Sales reps need to start understanding. I was listening to Sam Taggart talk about this the other day. And it's nothing but the truth. Sales reps need to understand that these commissions are going to start coming down on a per deal basis. That needs to get made up within volume. The only way to do that is to maximize and truly make their time as efficient as humanly possible. Really, the only way to do that is virtually, right?
Absolutely.
Not just sitting homes, not just virtually closing, but virtually setting those appointments. It's the procurement that matters. It's the companies that have mastered their own procurement and aren't relying on their reps. We saw Titan go down a while ago, and that really and truly, you can attribute that to whatever you want. But I'll tell you what, if they had consistent sales coming in, if they were able to manage that pipeline efficiently and maintain control of the procurement of their customers, I guarantee you they would not have ended up in the debt spiral that ultimately led to their downfall. And you can attribute 1,000 different reasons to Titan going out of business, but I'll tell you, no matter what the reason was, at the end of the day, if they controlled their own client procurement and they controlled the inception of that sale, it would not have gone the same way for them. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm right with you, Alex. I think that controlling the process is very important, because if you're not controlling the process, you don't know what your guys are doing, right? And like you mentioned, having all the guys standing there at their desks in the office, right? They can't go to the gas station. Well, it's the same thing. They have myself or one of my managers breathing down their neck, right? This is what you need to be doing. Why did you say this, right? As much as you want to be able to do that for your setters on the doors, it's not really feasible. It's not possible. How are you supposed to follow each and every one of your setters around and help them, grow them into the person that they need to be, right? That's what we're able to do on the phones through coaching and mentoring and seeing everybody in one big place, right? It creates some crazy momentum that really, really gets them going, and they're able to do things the way that we want it done.
Exactly. So that way they're able to capture the 7 necessary data points, right? And let's drill into that. All those data points, what we're getting is we're ensuring that this customer is a customer who can buy, came to buy, and will buy if the closer does their job, right? That's why we're getting the bill up front. That's why we're collecting usage. That's why we have Simplicity Concierge going out building the proposals ahead of time. How much money do you make as a closer if you're just sitting there building proposals for 3 hours? Nothing. That's why we want to take that workload off and boil the process down to only what it truly needs to be, which is sitting in the home, closing the deal. We're sitting on the phone and virtually taking these appointments. So just to kind of tie this all in, where do you think the industry is shifting next, right? Like we really started this call center back when there were hardly any other companies that really were leveraging cold calling the way that we were, especially not with predictive dollars, especially not in the sheer volume of outreach that we were doing. What do you think is kind of next in this industry?
You know, like you said, a lot of people are trying to break into the call center space, and you know, some of them are seeing some level of success, right? I mean, I've talked to a lot of the guys that are doing it, right? Most of them aren't seeing the levels of success that I've been seeing with my teams. However, there are some that are seeing some levels of success.
Why do you think that is?
You know, I would say it's just having everything in-house, right? Everything is in-house. We have our own processes. We have our own SOPs, right? I've done the training myself. Hell, you've even come in and you've helped my guys with their training, right? We want to make sure that when we set these appointments, they're qualified. They meet all those 7 data points like we spoke about earlier. They are exactly what a closer wants in a customer. That way, when we get in the homes, when we take that phone call, we're actually able to sell them, right? Now, as far as what's coming next, like you asked, I think that really the next step going from there is really just transitioning over to virtual, right? Like you spoke about, like you mentioned, with the amount of time that you have as a setter, as a closer, you want to optimize that, right? It's limited. It's taking a lot more time to get those same qualified people, right? So the only way we can optimize that is, you know, past where it is right now with the call centers, you can switch and you can move to virtual. So what you can do is you can just sit there on your couch. You can sit there in the office, co-working space, you know, hell, we have a couple guys who literally just go to like a WeWork or something like that and close these deals virtually just sitting there just because it's so efficient, right? There's no other way that you can close these deals and have back-to-back appointments. Maybe if you're going and having your door team set appointments in like a specific neighborhood, you can get some appointments that are spread out by a few hours. You only have to drive 20, 30 minutes between your appointments. Maybe you can do that.
Yeah, but realistically, like nobody's going in-home and sitting 5-6 appointments a day. And that's what our virtual guys can do, is they have the capacity to be able to genuinely sit those 5 to 6 appointments, give them their full attention because there's enough hours in the day that if they're spread and stacked right, that they're able to hit all 6 and pull closes out of there, right? Properly nurture those 6 customers. If they're doing that virtually over the phone and over Zoom versus just in person alone, right? Now, tell us, what do you think? So obviously, now with our new AI outreach technologies that we're using to really optimize our cold callers even from there, how far do you think that's going to go? I mean, how long do you think it's going to be until we start seeing more adoption across the industry of these new AI technologies and of cold calling in general, optimize the way that we're doing it?
People don't like to try things that are new, right? Like you said, AI, it's new, right? A lot of people are hesitant about it, right? So we like to be the first people to do things in the game. We're not afraid to be the ones that test things. So like you said, we adopted it. We found ways to implement AI and make it very highly successful, right? As far as other companies implementing it, you know, to be honest with you, I'm not seeing that happening within the next 6 to 9 months for them doing it effectively to the level that we've been doing it, because we already started doing that before everybody else was doing it.
If there's a closer out there watching, they're out knocking doors right now. They're in the heat. Or they're out there beating their head against the wall trying to build a setter team from zero, which is crazy hard. I've been there, done that. What do they need to do to get in contact with you to learn more about the virtual programs that we have, to learn more about the lead process, get some training, get some guidance, and potentially get on our list as a qualified closer in Simplicity Power to start taking some of those leads that you guys are generating?
So we do have a multi-step interview process when it comes to this for hiring people. Obviously, we don't just want to be taking anybody in off the street, right? We have tons of people lining up asking to take these appointments, so we do want to make sure we're giving them to the best people. So with that being said, right, we do want to check people's track records, right? We want to speak to the previous EPCs they've been with. We want to see customers that they have installed, right? We want to get all this information and make sure that they are someone that we actually would want selling for us. So we don't just want any random person coming in and taking these leads. We want to make sure that you are the expert, right? We only want to be working with those people. There's a reason that we have 5-star reviews across all platforms. So we really want to make sure that we're hiring the right people. We're hiring those people that are getting the 1 out of 3, 1 out of 5 kind of thing.
Awesome. And protecting that reputation so we can keep our 5 stars. Now, if that's something that is of interest to you and you think that you're the kind of closer that can fit that qualification, there is a link in the description. Click that link, fill that out. You're going to be connected to one of our recruiters. So go through that multi-stage interview process where you're going to connect with our recruiters. You'll connect with Brendan. And if you pass the criteria, we'll be setting you up in the promised land with more leads than you can handle. All right, Brendan, thank you so much.
Absolutely, Alex.
Let's go out and get some deals. I appreciate it. Click the link in the description again. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. We'll talk to you next time on the Simplicity Power Podcast.